Places. Today we have an interesting personality who I happened was lucky enough to actually meet. My last trip to Pakistan, he's actually married to one of my really good friends, and he is at the moment the Cigar Man of Pakistan. Or at least that's what I'm calling him for the rest of the stream. I haven't asked him actually, but so yeah, we're going to talk about his channel. There's a bunch of stuff that he's done in the past. A little background about him is, he's an animal lover. He has a dog who I think does not like me, but he's a really sweet dog, and he has a bunch of cats. Born raised in Pakistan, and then went abroad to study. Came back to the homeland, and he decided to stay, and is doing very well. Much unlike myself, actually, I ran away again after I returned, but it is what it is. So his name is Shams, and let's get him on board and let's ask him a bunch of questions. Here we go.
Hey man,
Hello, Shams. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for the introduction. Makes me feel like a celebrity.
Well, how was it? Was it good?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Fair enough. Feel like I'm happy that you feel like a celebrity because I don't have many viewers sometimes, so this is all it is. That's the height of celebrity you're going to get on this channel. But yeah, so I mean, did I miss any? I know I missed a bunch of stuff, but I wanted to have you on board as well, so you could talk to us, tell us about yourself before we actually start talking about your channel and different things. We don't have to talk only about cigars, by the way.
Yeah.
We can talk about whatever happens. But yeah, the title is The Cigar Man of Pakistan. Welcome to, by the way, the episode number 63 of Newsviews. So, welcome. Go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I was born and raised in Pakistan, and then I went to the US for my higher education. I
Mm-hmm.
was there for about 5 years. I did my undergrad from USC. I went to Marshall School of Business, Finance, and then I stayed back for a year. I was working over there.
Mm-hmm.
And my interest basically for cigars developed over there because I was visiting my brick and mortar cigar lounges over there. So that's something that developed while I was in college, and
Yeah.
something that I got to know more about as I
Okay.
was finishing up my education. And then I came back home and I started working over here. I'm associated with the banking industry at the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
I've carried on that hobby of mine, and it's still something that I pretty much adore and admire, and I really like in terms of uh, letting other people know about it a little bit more, and share my experiences in terms of what I think about cigars, what it does to a person, and uh, what kind of qualities it brings to a personality.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, you have answered like half the questions, by the way, by that short or long introduction. So, why do you want people to actually know about cigars? Like, what's so special about them?
See, the thing is, I've been smoking since about 10, 12 years,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of audience around the world that is aware about cigar smoking. It's part of the culture.
Yeah.
However, in Pakistan, there is an audience that doesn't really know much about cigars because even if you go out in the market, if you look at shops and these brick and mortar stores, there's only a couple, a handful of stores that are available, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really non-existent in the Pakistani market. So people don't really know what to do, where to go, what to buy. So they don't have that much knowledge. So that's something that I wanted to spread awareness about because being in the US, I got an opportunity to actually visit these stores and lounges
Mm-hmm.
and actually experience a wide range of availability of cigars. However, that's still not here. It doesn't exist. And if you look at YouTube, there are a bunch of people, there are a bunch of channels that are available for viewing, and you get to learn a lot about it. But in Pakistan, there's no one that's doing this.
Yeah.
So my idea was just to be out there and educate people and just share my experience really in terms of what it's like and what to enjoy and what to look out for in cigars.
Got it. Do you think it's not very popular because it just never entered the market, or is it? I mean, successfully, or is it because I like that you're smoking a cigar right now? Awesome. But do you think it's because of the price points? Because whenever I hear about cigars, and I don't know jack shit about cigars, I always think that it's something expensive. So is that a fact that has changed the market in
Well,
a
that's
way?
always going to be there because it's a very expensive proposition
Mm-hmm.
in terms of affordability. However, I think that market has developed in terms of if you go to a shop right now, there are a bunch of shops like there are like two to three shops that are available.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually expanded on their product line in terms of offering cigars from different parts of the world. New world cigars, as they call it, and old world cigars, which are basically Cubans. So that is expanding in terms of offering a portfolio of different cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is an element. There it's an expensive proposition, which is exactly why I actually don't like going to shops over here and purchasing my merchandise. I
Mm-hmm.
actually happen to purchase my cigars from abroad, from Switzerland, because I know how much it actually costs, and it's
Mm.
actually economical in terms of buying cigars in bulk instead of
Yeah.
going to a shop and spend and overspending. Actually, it's exuberant prices.
Yeah.
So it's like something that actually cost you $8 to $6 is probably going to cost you $15 to $20 purchasing from the local market over here.
Really.
So I I I generally prefer buying it from abroad because I know what the cigar is worth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. But it's quite unfortunate that there's not an abundance of cigars that you can pick and choose from.
Got it. Is there? Do you get this shipped from abroad, or do you get people to like bring them
Yeah.
when they're traveling or
So
something?
it's a bit of both. When I'm purchasing it from a website, there are basically two companies that ship to Pakistan. There's
Mm-hmm.
Cigar One, and there is Monty Fortuna. So these are
Okay.
the two places that I purchased online.
Yeah.
And I also have friends who have relatives and people and friends who are visiting abroad. They're visiting the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So I just place an order and they just bring it for me, and then that's how it works. So when I place an order online,
Yeah.
it usually takes about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to get here, and then I have to pay a big amount on the duty for it.
Yeah.
That's another expense, added expense. But then it turns out to be cheaper per stick per cigar if I purchase it online as compared to purchasing it from store.
Yeah.
So it makes
Okay.
more sense that way.
All right. Fair enough. When you said duty, you mean customs,
Yeah,
custom clearance?
customer duty. Yeah, yeah.
And has it ever happened that it gets stuck in customs? Because, like, for example, like in Thailand, it's a huge thing that if you send stuff from here to Pakistan, it always gets stuck, and then you have to pay. For example, a friend of mine sent like chocolates to her mom or something, and they asked for double the money of the actual amount that it was worth in customs, so she could actually get it. And she's like, you know what, screw it. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not going to, pay the duty. It's not even worth it. So there's that.
hmm Yeah. So like whenever I've purchased it, I've never had any issues.
Mm,
All they do is this postman, he just comes to me and then he just shows me an invoice and it has like a amount written on it, whatever is due to the customs, and I just pay it
yeah.
off and then he brings in the box the next day. However, the current government, they had previously imposed a ban on imports,
Mm-hmm.
so that may have caused issues in terms of
Yeah.
purchasing merchandise from abroad. They were actually so ridiculous. They were actually confiscating chocolates that people were buying from international duty-free airports, and they were bringing it back to the country. So they were being like really anal about it.
Mm.
However, I've never faced that kind of a predicament because I haven't actually purchased anything online for quite some time. Rather
Mm.
than placing an order from someone who's visiting the U.S. So that works out for me.
Got it. Could you tell me about your first cigar by any chance? Would you remember?
Okay, so the first cigar that I smoked was when I was 18 years old. I actually, it was my high school graduation. So me and my friend, we actually visited a store in
Mm.
Pakistan, in Karachi, where I live, and we just picked up a stick. It was a Romeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
We just picked it up randomly. I had no clue or knowledge about cigars. I just thought it would be something interesting in terms of
Mm-hmm.
it would stand out from the crowd, something cool for an 18-year-old to do in front of
Yeah.
the crowd. So that's how I started, and I didn't really start that habit, or I didn't get into a hobby of smoking cigars right away.
Mm-hmm.
I it was not until my sophomore or junior year in college that I actually got into this habit because when I was in the US, I was visiting these stores, and I actually had a friend who was quite interested in this particular hobby and exploring and getting to know more about cigars as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I got into a habit with my friend because we actually made it a habit to go out there, explore the cigar scene, visit
Yeah.
cigar lounges, and that's how I really actually got hooked onto discovering more about cigars, understanding the history, understanding the importance, and the therapeutic benefits of smoking cigars, which is relaxation for the most part for me, that I believe.
Got it. My mistake. I want to confirm what you just told me. Was this in Pakistan or U.S.?
This was in the U.S. when I actually
U.S.
started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I was wondering because I mean I'm guessing it was around what 2000,
Um,
2008.
it was in 2000,
8? I think we're the
yeah,
same age. So the
2000, no, no, it was
2000.
like around 2009, 10. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, interesting. So I mean, you talked about the therapeutic benefits. I don't know why I'm laughing at this, but I wanted to ask you that when people say that uh, you're smoking like 20 cigarettes or 10 cigarettes if you have like one cigar, my question is not that if it's right or wrong. My question is, would you have a full cigar? At in one sitting, would you have a full cigar? That would make that claim possible.
No, so there are some health risks associated with smoking a cigar because at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day it's nicotine that you're inhaling. Well,
Yeah.
actually, you're not actually inhaling the smoke. You're actually just taking a couple of puffs every minute and a half, and then you're just letting it out. However, it's
Okay.
still entering your bloodstream, so it does affect your nervous system, of course, and your bloodstreams. However, when you talk about a cigar, essentially what a cigar is it's just tobacco leaves that are put together. And if you compare that with smoking a cigarette is a totally different ball game because cigarette is a nasty thing because there's like so many additives and chemicals that keep on burning that cigarette. So when you
Yeah.
smoke a cigar, yes, there are definitely down there basically there are many shortcomings when it comes to the health benefit. There's no health benefit, right? But the thing is, when you're smoking a cigar, I don't know if you've noticed or not. When you burn a cigar, if you don't keep puffing on it, it's gonna go out, which is a
Yeah.
sign that there's no chemicals or additives involved that's gonna keep burning the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's something that is harmful to your health. However, you can't really compare it to a cigarette or a shisha or a hookah or an
Mm-hmm.
e-cigarette.
Okay.
So if anything in excess is going to be bad for your health. In
Yeah.
moderation, a couple of times a week, there's no. I don't think there's an issue about it because if you look at people, if you look at some legends out there who are like known for smoking cigars like Winston Churchill, Sigmund Freud,
Hmm.
Michael Jordan. As a matter of fact, they used to smoke like daily. They used to smoke like maybe 10 cigars a day. Like I'm talking about Sigmund Freud, and they lived to a
Jeez.
really long, they lived a long life. So,
Yeah.
so that's testament to the fact that it's not as harmful as cigarette smoking. However, there are risks associated with it.
Okay. So do you think cigars and smoke and cigarettes they don't shorten your life? Is that a
Uh,
possibility?
if you compare it with cigarettes, it's a much more better alternative.
Okay.
However, anything tobacco is not good. That's that's just a fact.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take your word as facts, just because I don't know jack about cigars as well. So if anybody wants to hate on me, you can, but I don't really care. Um, Here's the question. I did some research on cigars before I wanted to talk to you, and I think in the 10th century the Mayans were smoking their first, and
Yeah.
like in the 10th century I think, and that's what I wanted to ask. Do you know about cigars in their original form?
Man, like I'm just someone who enjoys smoking cigars rather than knowing that much of a history about. So
Okay.
yes, it did start in the 1800s. Cigar production actually started in the 1800s. However, it
Mm.
dates back to the 10th century. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it started production in the 1800s. In the 1900s, it started booming with Cuba, and then
Mm-hmm.
there was an embargo on Cuba, so it was like a prohibited thing for the U.S. to actually purchase cigars from Cuba. However,
Yeah.
the Cuban world is actually the Cuban cigar industry is something that actually came into existence, and they started this legacy of cigars, and that's why Cuba is known as the holy grail of cigars because of the attention to detail, the number of years that they put into it, the way that
Mm-hmm.
they grow it, the foil, the soil that is used in terms of harvesting the crop, the tobacco itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Cuba has a rich history in terms of cigars and offerings and bringing actually cigars on the roadmap of the world.
Yeah, there also in my research it also came up that Fidel Castro had this um, certain way, a method of lighting up. He used to light a corner of a cigar,
Yeah.
and a lot of people who do that they say that it's like the best way of smoking a cigar. I'm personally I like to question certain things like why is it the best, and would you have any input on it, like different ways of smoking cigars and stuff like that? Why would it How does it differ?
Okay, so there is a way of lighting up a cigar and smoking a cigar, and then there's a right way of doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a really intimate connection between a cigar smoker and the cigar. Uh, what they call it is preparing the cigar. Basically, what you do is, first of all, when you look at a cigar, you're supposed to admire the beauty of the cigar. You look at the wrapper, you appreciate the cigar, you appreciate the cigar maker. Uh, you actually, look at the band of the cigar. It's an art form. Like
Mm-hmm.
look at it. It's beautiful art. And then what you do is you take a couple of sniffs of the cigar, just to get ready to smoke it. And then what you do is you cut the cigar,
Mm-hmm.
take a light draw, like you take a light draw,
Okay.
it's called a cold draw, just to just to get an idea of what you're getting into, and you're going to be investing maybe half an hour to an hour or 2 hours of smoking a cigar. So that's what you do. You take a little puff before you light it up, and then you take a lighter. You light up the edges of the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the idea is to make sure that you get an even burn, and the only way you can get an even burn is by going through the corners of the cigar, and then keeping it cool and blowing on it a couple of times until you make sure that the cherry is red. So the entire cigar needs to be red. because you need to understand that there are three elements that go into a cigar. There
Educate
is
me.
yeah, yeah. So there is this. They're fillers. Basically, fillers are basically strains of tobacco
Mm-hmm.
that are rolled together, and then there's a binder, which is another leaf that actually holds the filler together, and then there's a third layer, which is the wrapper, which is
Mm-hmm.
the beautiful looking, the wrapper. The appearance that basically creates the appearance of the cigar. So there are basically three different elements that put a cigar together. So you need to make sure that you're burning through all three layers of that cigar, so the cigar burns evenly, as well
Mm-hmm.
as you're actually getting the most out of the cigar, because there are three different flavors coming out of one particular cigar. So that's exactly why it's important to make sure that you're lighting up a cigar the right way, that you're smoking a cigar the right way. You're not over burning the cigar. You're not overdrawing on it. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to spoil the entire flavor and the experience. So
Got
there's
it.
a right way of doing it.
Fair enough. Thank you for that. A little class. They don't teach you that in school, for sure. Do you? Is there a certain kind of class of cigars that class of cigar that you actually like the most? Like, what's your favorite one, or whatever?
So they basically actually three or more than three right now.
Mm-hmm.
Regions from where cigars actually came into existence. There's the Dominican Republic, there's Honduras, there's Nicaragua, and then there's Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a beginner, once you start smoking cigars, it's always advisable to start with the lightest cigar, like so something that is not very overpowering. So that's
Mm-hmm.
Dominican Republic. Once you actually graduate in that particular the experience of your cigar, that's exactly when you get to know that what kind of blends that you like.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mild or a medium or a full body cigar. So I prefer medium to full, which is
Okay.
basically Nicaraguan. It's a full body cigar. They actually produce. They have a reputation of making full body cigars. Full
Mm-hmm.
body is basically the maximum amount of flavor that you can experience in a cigar. And
Yeah.
Cuban cigars are, they're basically on the medium and on the milder side. So I enjoy those as well. So
Okay.
Nicaraguan, to answer your question, yes, Nicaraguan and Cubans are the cigars that I really enjoy.
Got it. Um, do you have any Cubans right now?
Oh yeah, I do.
Can I see? Can the audience see one? I'll remove myself from it, so from the screen, so you can actually just show it.
So this is what I have right now. These are a couple of Cubans that I have. This one over here, this is Cohiba. It's the most reputable brand in Cuba, and then there's the Bolivar over here.
Mm-hmm.
This one's the Bolivar. This one's Monte Cristo Edmundo.
Yeah.
This one's Ramon Iones, Cuban. Kidorse, number 54. That's a thick cigar. It's got a
I can
big,
see that. Yeah. Holy crap.
big ring gauge to it.
Yeah.
And then there's the Juan Lopez. These are all Cuban cigars that I've been storing and aging
Mm-hmm.
in the humidor.
That's interesting that you brought it up. I want to ask you about storage because, for example, cigarettes, they would go bad after a few days of just being put out there. I remember I smoked a cigarette back home. Um, there was a cigarette in a friend's car that he had forgotten to take out, and it was just there for like more than half a year. We actually got high on it. Just a cigarette because it was really bad. I remember our throats got messed up as well, and I want to ask you about storage for this because you mentioned it.
Okay, so something that really impacts tobacco in general is the humidity. So when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about cigar storage, you need to keep cigars and store cigars in a certain environment. So basically, it's a perishable item if you think about it. It's a living thing. It's a living thing. It's a living and breathing thing that
Mm-hmm.
actually you cultivate. It grows in the soil. So you need to make sure that cigars are stored at 70 degrees. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're maintained at 70% humidity level to ensure
Mm-hmm.
that the cigars burn well. I prefer 65% humidity, which basically ensure that the cigars are going to burn properly, they're going to burn well, you're not going to have an
Mm-hmm.
uneven burn. So it's really important to give the cigar the right environment so that you get the most in terms of enjoying the cigar. So, there are multiple ways of storing cigars. You basically store cigars in a humidor, which is a box made out of cedar wood.
Okay.
Um, I've been smoking cigars for about the last 12, 13 years. So, I've gone through storing them in a humidor. I've gone through storing them in different kind of places, just to, experiment in terms of what works out the best.
Okay.
So, you're gonna find assholes out there. They're gonna be saying that oh no, you can't store cigars in plastic. You can't store them in Tupperware. It's a disgrace to the cigar itself. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
expensive hobby of yours. Why are you sticking it in a cooler door? Why are you putting it in a cooler?
Yeah.
So I store my cigars in this cooler over here.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the idea is, you're supposed to maintain cigars. You're supposed to give them, 70% humidity. It needs to be airtight, basically. And
Okay.
humidors, which are made out of cedar wood, they actually have leakages around it.
Okay.
So it's actually counterproductive for a cigar smoker to store cigars in a humidor, because
Okay.
sooner or later it's gonna have leakages around the corners. So what works for me the best is storing them in these plastic containers, which are these little boxes over here. This
Mm-hmm.
is a Tupperware that's easily available in the market. And what I do is I put in these pouches. There's a little pouch inside it.
Yeah.
That's basically, it ensures that there's humidity that's maintained
Okay.
at a certain level.
Okay.
So I put my cigars in these Tupperwares,
Mm-hmm.
and I put these Tupperwares inside the cooler box.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's no leakage. Yes, what I do is I do open up these boxes every once a week, just to make sure that the air is coming out. There is
Mm-hmm.
not constant humidity. Otherwise, it's not really a good thing to give a constant environment of humidity to your cigars. Otherwise, it's going to develop into mold,
Yeah.
and it's going to basically spoil the cigar, and you're going to have to check it out. So I do have a method of storing cigars, and I think it works best for me. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter if it works out for other people or not, because it's tried and tested for me. Uh,
Okay.
so there's no need to be all anal about it. That, oh my God, you're not supposed to store cigars in a Tupperware or cooler. You're supposed to put it in a wine cooler, so you
Yeah.
get the right temperature, the right humidity. Hey man, it works out. Whatever works out for you, whatever floats your boat.
Sure. I just searched up some humidors, and some of these are actually more expensive than these storage racks that come in for camera equipment
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
well, which are electric and stuff, and they keep everything
Yeah, yeah,
going.
yeah. So I've gone through three different desktop humidors. I've spent a
Mm-hmm.
couple of $100 on them, but I always ended up, not liking the idea of storing cigars
Yeah.
in a traditional box.
Yeah.
So, and then this idea of all these coolers came into existence. That these are temperature controlled environment in which you
Mm-hmm.
store your cigars. You're supposed to put in these humidity beads in order to maintain the humidity it's basically a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Uh, so they're quite expensive. They range about $500 to thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's an expensive proposition. If you wanna spend that much money on a cooler just to store a cigar, that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever works out.
I mean, yeah, I think with weed it's a similar thing as well, right? People have airtight jars, that properly
Yeah.
close up. There's, different issues with that as well. But I mean, have you seen the news? They made it legal here.
Yeah, yeah.
and so you can just go to a cafe and
Yeah,
have
in
it.
Thailand?
And
In
in
Thailand?
Thailand, yeah. But now they're pulling back. So that's a huge thing about
Time to
some
stock
laws.
up.
Sorry.
Time to stock up.
Time to start. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. It keeps on. It's called a flip flop thing in Thailand. So a bunch of things happen like this, that they make a law and then they go like, we don't want it because something's out of control. So it goes back and forth. But all of us are obviously hoping that it stays. It's supposed to, increase tourism as well. And I guess that brings me to this one random question that I'm getting in my head right now. That is are there, how should I phrase this? Do cigar tours exist, like in different countries? So the cigar tourism, basically, is that a thing? Because I know weed marijuana tourism exists. Like for example, Amsterdam, right? Everybody knows. Is a cigar tourism a thing at all?
Yes, it's a big thing. I've known actually a couple of people who visited the cigar manufacturers' factories.
Mm-hmm.
They've been to Dominican Republic, they've been to Honduras, they've been to Indonesia. Indonesia is a market that's producing some good cigars out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's always travelers who are visiting Cuba to visit all these, big cigar manufacturer factories. So yes, that's a pretty big thing. That's been predominant for quite some time. And actually, I've never been to any of these countries. However, I'd love to do that at some point in my life, when there's like time and the life permits me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to do that. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Interesting. So like,
You get to know
yeah, go
more
ahead.
about the history of cigars by actually being there, instead of just uh, googling it or finding it on Google or
Yeah,
just listening to other people's opinion. You actually got to be there to experience what
true.
it's all about. What the tradition
Yeah.
is all about. What actually goes into making cigars. That's why I don't know much about the process of making cigars. I just know that the leaf is grown, it's been processed properly, it's been fermented. It takes a couple of years. The cigar actually comes into existence after the tobacco leaves have gone through 500 different hands. So there's a lot of elements
Mm-hmm.
that actually go into making a cigar, and you actually got to be there to experience it.
I agree. I think that can be said for a lot of things as well too, right? They started these things in, I think, Dubai as well. These virtual tours. So it's literally like you're there. In fact, I helped shoot and film a virtual tour for an international school in Phuket, and it's like you're there, right?
Yeah.
But we used it because, I mean, they used it because of COVID, right? So you have like 4 or 5 parents every single day wanting to come in and check the place out, and that stopped for more than a year. So that's what people use it. But yes, definitely that school is pretty beautiful. So I do agree that being there is something that's important as well. Like with Dubai tourism, they were doing that as well. I think 16 Chapel and different places like this, they've done that. But of course, you have to be there. I agree. We agree on something. Cool. I don't think we have disagreed on anything yet, but still. So,
Exactly why we're talking, right?
sorry?
That's exactly why we're talking because
Exactly.
otherwise, like people are always like, I'm a hard nut to crack when it comes to getting started on a conversation. So I
Really?
always,
Okay, good.
so that's where that's a tough proposition.
Fantastic. Good to know. Thank you. I think I found a way to share the screen, and I want to go through one of your videos, if that's okay. Actually, it doesn't have to be videos. I just wanted to show your channel off as well. Oh shit! I can do it. Cool. Um, and share system audio. So. Oh wait. I need to show this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I see
So
it.
so this is your
It's my
channel.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yes, and you're on Facebook as well. And I wanted to ask you. I saw one of your videos where you had gone in to a shop, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
And is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so I won't do the audio for this, but I wanted to ask you, it was really interesting. Um, Please work. It was really interesting to see this because this is not something I've been exposed to in Pakistan, right? Cigarettes are bad. Alcohol is bad. Weed is bad. Church is bad. So you don't openly get this stuff. And I wanted to ask you, uh, how did you actually like the store, and what did you feel about it overall? Just for
So,
my
so, so,
stream, because
so
I know you've already mentioned stuff in your
yeah,
video.
so a walk-in humidor is something that is not new to me because I've experienced that in college. It's widely available in the US. If you go to a cigar lounge, they have to have a walk-in humidor. Or it's a cigar bar, so they
Mm-hmm.
have some kind of a cabinet that has a display of cigars on it. So when I came back home after 5 years, after spending 5 years abroad, I wanted to check out, where can I get cigars from? So there was
Mm-hmm.
this little store in a departmental store. There was a little store that was offering cigars, and I used to purchase my cigars from there a couple of times. I've been there. I've actually
Mm-hmm.
bought a couple of cigars from there over the years, and they actually expanded their operation and they actually opened up a proper walk-in humidor at that same location. So actually, when I started about my YouTube channel, and I was making a couple of videos, I thought, I mean, why not give my audience an opportunity to see what the world has to offer, what Karachi has to offer in terms of the availability of cigars that
Mm-hmm.
they can go and check out for themselves. So it just struck me, and I just had this idea of contacting the store owner and asking their permission if I could go and shoot over there, just to show my audience, like what's a humidor, what's a walk-in
Mm-hmm.
humidor, what kind of cigars they carry, what they have to offer.
Yeah.
So that's how this video came into existence.
Okay. And I think this brings me to my next question. What's the culture, the cigar culture in, well, I mean, you live in Karachi, but if you know anything about, other cities, that would be nice as well. But what's happening
It's really
overall?
growing. Like it's actually growing because
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know of a couple of cigar lounges where people get together. They have these herfs. A herf is basically a get together of people where they enjoy different cigars. They get
Mm-hmm.
together. They have a relaxing time. They have meals together. They have coffee together, and they're scheduled on a particular date. So that kind of scene is going on. I know of a cigar lounge that is offering that kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's actually it's something that is developing and developing a market. But however, there's only one or two shops that is doing there, that is doing that.
Okay.
So it has evolved over the years. However, the progress is quite slow, possibly because of the target market that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously that has to do with the affordability of the cigar itself. So it has evolved. However, there is a downside in terms of cigars being only available to the elites who can actually afford buying them and enjoying them. Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened
So it
all
just
of a
stopped.
sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some connection issues within my streaming platform, so that's weird. But yeah, sorry. Continue. You were
So what I
talking
was saying,
about the last thing I heard was, or that was online was, you're talking about the price points that based on the target market.
yeah. So basically, what it is like I said, It has evolved quite a bit in the last 10, 15 years. I left Pakistan back in 2007 and came back in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
11 end of 11 and 12. So there is this kind of awareness about cigars. Uh, like I said, there is a cigar lounge that is offering an opportunity for people to come together, enjoy cigars in good company, relax and enjoy that kind of lifestyle that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, However, it's a very small target market due to the price point of the cigar. So there's only a niche market because only the elite can afford this kind of a hobby. So that's a small market that is still out there.
I mean, the elite also has the status quo situation thing going too, right? Like, there would be more. I'm guessing there would be more cigar lounges and places to buy if they actually wanted to go themselves. Is that something?
No, they actually do go themselves.
Yeah.
They do go themselves.
Okay.
I don't know what the question was.
I mean to say that I mean, in the Pakistani culture, it's all about like okay, send the driver to do
Oh, no,
something,
no, no, no,
and
no. When it comes to
so
cigars,
yeah,
it doesn't apply on cigars because
okay,
you know has nothing to do with that particular. I mean, if you think about cigars, it's something that you feel good about it. Actually,
mm-hmm,
visiting a particular store, examining the cigar and purchasing it. It's an
okay,
expensive proposition, like I said. So yes, there is a service that actually delivers online.
mm-hmm,
They actually only operate online. They don't have a physical brick and mortar. So yes, people do order online as well. I order online. I've
mm-hmm,
done it a couple of times. So that's that as well. I mean that's available as well.
okay.
Uh, so yeah, that's what it is.
Fair enough. We have the wife chiming in. Hi Tazeen, hope you're well. Uh, please share the stuff so we both can get a lot of followers. But so okay, we've talked about your channel and culture in Pakistan, but what about culture in the world in general? I know you have mentioned a bit, but where do you see the cigar culture in maybe the next 30 years?
In
We're both
Pakistan,
going to be alive in the next 30 years. I mean, you could talk about both. That would be good.
see the idea, like if I talk about the U.S., there are cigar lounges. There are these casual bars where you can casually go and just sit in your shorts and enjoy a cigar. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you talk about cigar lounges over here, you're going to be seeing, people dressed up, decked out, maybe, dressed semi-casually, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
whole shebang.
Yeah.
So it's if you compare the two, if you talk about the U.S. per se, it's a very casual thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I used to go to Hollywood Boulevard and visit a cigar lounge over there. Just
Yeah.
dressed up in my shorts and shirt or whatever t-shirt,
And
and I could
nobody really bothered. Nobody really cared.
the idea of actually visiting a cigar lounge is to relax and
Yeah.
enjoy and experience other people as well who are actually there to do the same.
Yeah.
However, over here it's a formal thing,
Do
and
you?
me
Sorry,
actually
continue.
I find that to be really pretentious. So I don't subscribe to that. So that is exactly why I don't like visiting cigar lounges.
So
Um,
here's a thought. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
yeah, my idea is to probably go in the lounge and then mind my own business. If I'm in that particular mood of just smoking a cigar and being on my own, uh, that's what I want. However, like if I don't know, pretentious as people be, uh, they might as well, they might, judge you for the cigar that you're smoking. Because, there's the wide range of cigars that are available. There's budget sticks, there's mid-range line, and there's the most expensive cigar line that they offer. So that's something that the people don't really care about in the U.S. I mean, It's there for a reason, right? You can purchase
Yeah.
whatever you want. It's your choice, whatever you want to smoke.
True. I agree.
That's the difference. I guess that has to do with the culture that we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, but so one thing I'm thinking of, well, a two-part question. One is, do you, a short question is, do you have friends in Karachi or generally in Pakistan who no in Karachi, so you can actually hang out and smoke together.
Yeah, I've
So
got.
that's
It's a very small. Can't even say a group because it's that small. There's only two or three
I was gonna
people.
say how small. Okay, two to
Yeah,
three
there's
people.
only two or
Okay.
three people, and uh, how I enjoy smoking cigars is it's basically I have a particular area in my house. Uh, it's basically my space. It's my den. So that's where I invite people over, and they can just come and we can just enjoy cigars. And
Okay.
I have a stock of cigars. I store cigars. I eat cigars. So even if they don't have cigars, I have cigars. So we just like chill at home, smoke cigars. If you feel like it, you can order in, order food or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Have coffee, water, whatever. So that's what I do, and that's how I like enjoying my cigars.
Do you guys dress up in a
Why would you?
pretentious manner? No, I was just joking because you mentioned pretentious people, so that's why I was asking as a joke. But
Not to be a hater, not to be a hater. Uh, I know people are going to disagree with my point of view, but no, man, whatever floats your boat, like I said.
no, I mean, look, there's a difference between dressing up and being pretentious, in my opinion,
Yeah, but
right?
I mean, it negates the whole idea of relaxing. That's what I'm saying.
True,
And
true, but
when you look at our culture, you're only going to see people. You're only going to find people that enjoy Cuban cigars because apparently those Cuban cigars are only worth smoking,
mm,
which is not the truth. I mean,
okay,
there's a whole world out there, which is known as the New World cigars, which is the Dominican Republic, the
mm-hmm,
Nicaragua, there's Honduras, there's Indonesia, there's Mexico. They offer cigars, they make cigars in the same fashion that is out there
mm-hmm,
available in the Cuban market. So you don't necessarily need to draw a line in terms of what a good cigar is. A good cigar is the one that you enjoy smoking. It's that
mm-hmm.
simple.
I
So,
mean, I
so the
guess
thing is,
I guess people can limit themselves based on what they like as well, right? I want to do everything Cuban, for example, so they're just
yeah.
going to go with that. But sorry, you were saying something.
So unless there's probably a mindset, but I don't know. I might be over exaggerating a little bit, but there's a mindset that um, Cohiba is a good cigar. Romeo and Juliet is a good cigar. If you don't enjoy smoking those, you know nothing about cigars.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair, man. That's not fair. I mean, there's like literally there's hundreds and hundreds of different cigar makers out there. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole world that you can explore and enjoy if you really that's something that you want to do.
Yeah.
So when I started smoking cigars, I didn't really care about what I was smoking. I
Yeah.
wanted to know and explore and see what I like and what I don't like. If you see
Mm-hmm.
a frame over there, that's a frame of cigar bands that I've collected over the years
Okay.
while I was in the US. So there's about 200 different cigar bands on that frame, and a
Nice.
lot more that's lying around the house. So in order to really appreciate cigar smoking and to know what a cigar is in its
Yeah.
essence, you actually need to smoke all kinds of cigars. So I've probably gone
True.
through maybe I don't know 600-700 different cigars that I've smoked
Really.
uh, over the 10, 12 years, whatever. But you can actually only enjoy cigars if you've smoked all the cigars that are out there in the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's not possible too. You can't smoke each and every cigar that's out there because
That is, I
you
mean,
get
yeah, over
totally
smoking kills eventually, right? that's that's what the whole idea is. My other thing I wanted to ask was that if it were up to only you at the end of the day to start something, and maybe the thing is gonna kill me for this idea, but I'm just thinking if it were up to you to start a culture of like chilling and relaxing and in a small place, if your den can become bigger. I'm not talking about money at the moment. I'm just talking about, like, having that social setting where things are done the way you want them. So, for example, I mean, look, if I go to a nice restaurant, um, overall, if I look good or not, that's up to me. Like, in Thailand, nobody really cares, right? Except, like, there's some really pompous places over here as well. But I like to dress up. But if I'm dressed up, does not mean that I'm gonna act
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
like I'm dressed up,
That's completely
basically,
up to
right?
you.
It's about, like, looking good and stuff, but like feeling good. But my point is that would you ever in the future consider, like, setting up a space, a lounge, for example, a rooftop lounge where everybody can just come together, bring their cigars, talk about it, smoke together, and just, like, do that instead of, okay, we'll give this couple a table here and these two, three people a table there, and you and I both know that, you have to have a lady to go sit in one section of the place or the other. But I'm talking about bringing a group together to actually do that. And is that something you would like to do if the
Yeah,
wife
yeah, yeah,
says
man.
hi?
Why not?
Yes.
Why not, man? I mean, the whole idea of setting up the channel
Mm-hmm.
was, bringing about awareness,
Mm-hmm.
spreading the awareness, spreading the word, in terms of what the cigar world has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, what's the benefit of smoking cigars? What's the right way of smoking? What's the right way of going about it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the right way of smoking it? What's the right way of cutting it? What's the right way of lighting it? So yeah, I mean that's on the cards. I mean, if if that's available, if that's something I can do, I would really love to do that.
Got it. I mean, there's a few groups. I know we're going on a tangent. There's more of a personal conversation now, by the way. Welcome to my podcast. When I joined this group in Bangkok, and I've literally not met any of these people yet. It's about 50 people or 100 people, and they go around Bangkok to different places. They'll go to the ice arena for skating. They'll go for dinner, like, a deep dish pan pizza, Chicago style pizza somewhere. So they do all these activities. But I know one thing about all of them is that they all have certain things in common. They want to go out and explore and, meet each other. And the good thing about a group like that is that you don't need a space.
Yeah,
Basically, they just go and do their thing in certain places, right? So I'm just wondering, like, that could be a good starting point where you just grab a group and you go to a place where smoking is allowed,
yeah,
and then you just, like, build that group, and then see, what you can do, as a next step or something. But
yeah.
just my 2 cents in terms of business and blah blah. um yeah, I think that's it from my side. um I did want to ask you a bit about the background of your channel, but I think you've covered most of it. Is
Yeah.
there anything you would like to say um,
So this is
before
something
we
that
sign off?
yeah, it's just something that I started very casually, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I didn't intend on doing. It's something that I was forced into by my wife because she was actually quite impressed with the packaging of cigars, the way they come into these boxes, and they're
Mm-hmm.
wrapped in a particular fashion. They're presentable. The whole idea and the whole experience of looking at that cigar box and being drawn to it. So
Mm-hmm.
she's the one who actually pitched me this idea of why don't you start a YouTube channel and show the world what you do and
Mm-hmm.
how you do it. So that's how it came into existence. Right now, it's not like a regular thing that I do. I've only done about 7, 8 videos so far in the last 5 months or 4 months. So it's whenever I have the time, whenever time allows me, it's something that I do and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I do with my wife, and it's a group. It's a group effort basically.
Sure.
Collectively, we do these videos.
Yeah, I
So
mean, Yeah, sorry,
So
continue.
I'm the face. I'm basically the face of the video. However, the direction, the editing, and the music and everything else, she does it. So
Okay.
that's where her expertise comes into the work into play.
Got it. I mean, yeah, I would love for this channel of yours to grow on. I mean, I would say consistency is the thing to do. Something I can't do. I can't remain consistent. But you know that's something to look into if you want cigar culture to grow in in Pakistan. I'm guessing. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
but. But yeah, other than that, I think we're done. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
sorry?
Really appreciate it. Thank you
No,
so
of
much.
course, always. But yeah, I'll just sign off and we'll have a bit of chat later. But thank you so much for coming. This was fantastic. I do feel educated a bit more on my cigar knowledge. I will say that I went to a cigar lounge called Viscas in Bangkok. I think a year ago. Haven't been since, but it was actually really nice. There was really good music and stuff like that. I guess I'm kind of making you jealous. I'm sorry, but I'm saying if you ever plan on visiting Thailand, that's probably the first place I would take you because you're gonna love it. Uh, but yeah, thank you so much, Shams, for doing this, and I think you should come to the channel again, and we can talk about stuff other than cigars as well. So I mean, there's a plethora of topics we could dive into. So thank you so much, and please. Everybody who is watching or is going to watch, just subscribe to my channel if you can. Subscribe to Shams's channel if you can. That is in the description as well already. I will add his Facebook page there as well. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
Cheers.
Cheers.